Hi, Cole here from Storytelling with Data. In a recent episode, I shared a presentation that I delivered virtually. Today, I want to talk a bit about the tools I used behind the scenes to help me do it. When I'm presenting virtually, I use a few different pieces of equipment. I have a camera that is external, it's not part of my computer. I have a high quality microphone so that audio sound is crisp. There is a ring light that is positioned on the opposite side of my desk that casts a nice glow on my face. And then I also use a piece of equipment called the ATEM Mini. It's a switcher that allows me to jump back and forth between my slides and me and picture in picture, which we'll talk a little bit more about. I use a switcher called the ATEM Mini, and it's a device that it's a little rectangle that sits on my desk and has a bunch of different buttons on it, which was actually a little intimidating at first, but it turns out there are only a handful of those buttons that I need to use on a regular basis. And so into the switcher gets plugged my computer, an external computer as well. I use my laptop typically for that, my camera feed, and then sometimes I'll plug in my iPad as well if I know I might want to be answering questions and potentially drawing something to do so. And when I'm using the switcher, what it allows me to do is just overtake my camera feed with any of these other devices. So I can put up my slides or draw on the iPad and switch those views simply by pressing a button. It also allows for picture in picture, which is cool because it means I can be showing a slide, but then also have a little box of me embedded in the slide so that you can still see me as I'm talking through the graph or the information. Another reason I like this device is just that it takes away the cumbersome piece of having to screen share and navigate through Zoom or one of those virtual platforms in order to do so. With the press of a button, I'm confident that my slides are being presented, which just helps everything run a little bit more smoothly. Typically, when I'm presenting virtually, I'm in my office, and the background there is actually a tiled wall. It's white, matte, and has a little bit of movement to it. And we talked about this a little bit in the video where I toured the office, but I actually didn't pick this. We were remodeling the house, and it was the end of a long day looking at tile, and I was done and could not make another decision at that point. This is actually my husband, Randy, who found this tile and thought, hey, that'll be kind of cool because there's actually a fireplace behind me that you don't see that's down near the ground. But then the tile goes all the way up the wall behind me, which wasn't our plan initially. But once we picked the tile, it seemed like a good direction to go. And that was before so much was happening virtually. So it's really a bonus that that turned into a nice neutral background for me to use for my virtual presentations. For those who are interested in upgrading the equipment that they're using to present virtual, for me, the first thing I would recommend doing so with is your camera. And probably for me, it's because I'm a visual person, and just knowing that I've been flattened to the two dimensions of virtual space, I want to do as much with them as I can, which means that crisp, clear video quality is super important. That said, other reasonable people will have different views. I know my husband, Randy, for one, he's has a musician background and is an audiophile. He cares a ton about how things sound. And so I think he would probably disagree with me and say the microphone is the first thing that you should upgrade. But I think that's a good highlight of some of the things that you want to think through. How are you presenting? What is going to be more important? Because another cool thing in virtual space is when you've been shrunken down to a tiny box on a screen, you do still have the power of your voice. So audio does become important as well. One piece of equipment that I recommend people invest in broadly because the price point is quite low is a good light. The light that I use is a simple ring light. It sits on the opposite side of the desk from me, and I can adjust the position depending on the rest of the lighting in the room to make sure that I'm always lit. Another consideration related to lighting is natural light that you may have in your space. So, considering where you're sitting, how you have your computer arranged relative to any windows, so you can optimize the lighting that you get from there as well. I'm curious. I've shared some of my must have technology for virtual presentations. Is there anything I missed? What's your favorite piece of equipment or the tool you can't live without for your virtual presentations? Let me know in the comments below. I'll also mention that we have a document that we add to over time that lists all of the different tools that get used across the Storytelling with Data team. So check out the link in the description below for that. And thanks very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.